I'll be recording these at different times, so hopefully you hear a difference in my voice throughout this process, because that will mean I'm getting over my cold, another of the wonderful things about Michigan this time of year. The first three things that you're asked to do, the first three passes through the document, really can be done as one once you've got some practice, because you're just reading in different voices. One of the voices that I'm sure to read about in is the student voice. And what I've done is I went through edits that I actually did on one document, and I've selected three specific comments that I made on the document, and I just thought I'd talk a little bit more about those. The first one talks about the definition of simplest form given in the document. The definition given in the document said the simplest form means the fraction is written using the smallest possible numbers. It had talked about equivalent fractions right before that, but I was worried that if a student really didn't know about this, that they wouldn't know that they had to use equivalent fractions or even that they had to use whole numbers. So I thought maybe some examples were needed. Basically, just reading as a student, if I didn't know what simplest form was, would I have known what simplest form was after I finished reading that definition? Sometimes I'd like to include a suggestion about possible wording, although I didn't do that here. The second example came from a homework problem. It asked you to compare two counties in a local area, or it asked the students to do that. And then it asked several questions. Find out the population in the area of those counties, find out their population density, and then write a sentence comparing the two. I thought it was a great application, but as a student, would a student know exactly what to do? I thought maybe some more specificity was needed in the sentence, write a sentence comparing the two. Comparing the two population densities, describing why the densities are different. This could turn out very different if you have a big city and a big county, and then you have a nearby small county. The population densities come out close, despite the difference in that the big city has a larger population. Basically, what would it take for the student to answer the question in a quality way? The final example that I have here just talks about one of the objectives. I was pretty sure that students wouldn't know what that objective meant even after they had completed the unit, and so I just brought that to the attention of the author. Now, in a minute, you're going to be asked to read over some of the materials that were originally given for Lesson 3.3. Spend a few minutes thinking about if there's some edits you would suggest based on reading in the student voice. You'll be given a chance to compare that with someone else and then have a group discussion about what you found. At the very end today, you'll see all the comments I made on Section 3.3, because we're going to go back to that a few times. And just because I know people are sometimes curious about this, I made this with a product called Doceri. The advantage of it is it's easy to make a video. The disadvantage is it runs on an iPad, so you'll see that it's hard to get a fine touch, and that some of the things where I print, well, you see my handwriting, which isn't quite this bad, but it does give me a chance to tell one of my favorite mathematical jokes, and that is, how does a mathematician write minimum? And the answer is, of course, M-I-N-I-M-U-M. Minimum.